Alrighty. Okay. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit not ready for this. Got like FL Studio open for some reason. There we go. Okay. Read me, Discord. Come on. Where you at? Discord's supposed to be saying what I'm doing, but it's not saying what I'm doing. Say what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in, my friends. Welcome, 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 welcome. We are back. Well, we didn't... According to y'all, we didn't actually go anywhere. We just took a nice little trip into the capital, the center basically of the country. It was a nice little like 2-ish day trip. We did. Mrs. Tomato got herself a little bit of a surgery. So she's in recovery right now. Though I think she'll show up in chat here. Her parents are visiting, saying hi right now. She is recovering from surgery, so make sure to reach out, say happy recovery, wish her the best. Just a little bit of work on her nose because of the deviated septum. It really started to get bad and flared up after we spent a few months in the other house with all the mold. Her mold allergies like made a big difference with her breathing and stuff, so had to do a little bit of corrective work there. But we're back. We're ready to go. We're going to talk about Star Citizen today. And oh my friends, it's a good one. All right. Listen up, y'all. Engineering. This is a big topic. In fact, you can see here already on this video, this is an Inside Star Citizen from 2020. It's like 4 years ago. This is like the first iteration of this system. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the Inside Star Citizen that came out today and is showing us... There she is. We're going to take a look at the engineering... You locking me in? All right. Okay. All right, fine. She's banishing me away to timeout, closing the door. We're going to take a look at the new engineering system, which we have here, which will, give us a little bit of a look at what they're bringing to the game. But we're going to go through the history too. We're going to take a look at what they were saying last year, the year before. Actually, this is the year before. And then finally back in 2020, all the different times. We've got quite a bit to go over. And that's generally because I'm just really freaking pumped about this gameplay. I've been waiting for engineering for a while. Those of you who have been here for a while, you probably know I was an engineer before I started doing this. Like, that's what I got my degree in. I worked in thermodynamics for a little while. And that has literally nothing to do with my interest in engineering in this game. I'm most interested in engineering in this game because my favorite thing about games is when they react to you. And this feels like a super reactive piece of gameplay that I've never really gotten to experience in a game besides something like, Sea of Thieves has some level of it. FTL is pretty good. Barotrauma I'd never played, but I watched it. There are games that do stuff like this, but this one is just, oh gosh. I'm excited for this. Yeah, I've heard of Void Crew. Haven't tried that one yet either, but I've heard of it. So yeah, we'll be doing all the history, all the opinions, chatting back and forth. And really, I think this will be a good opportunity for us to talk about how in-depth, how tedious this sounds. A lot of people, I think, will react to this as if it is like the cargo refactor, which many people see as making Star Citizen tedious for the sake of being tedious. Like, I'm sure you've seen these kinds of comments. So we'll drill down to the bottom of this and like really kind of... Obviously, we don't have our own hands on yet. We're not getting to play this ourselves, but from what they're telling us, we will talk and discuss whether or not this is something that feels like you can live with it without it making too much of a difference to your game, or if it's really just going to ruin it for solo players. So thank you for joining, everybody. Notification gang, welcome in early in. Lycos hitting us up, starting us off with a sub, dude. I appreciate you. Just talking to Lycos, just chatting with Lycos. Lycos, good guy. Had your first tequila shot with the tomatoes, yeah? Good times, dude. Are you going to CitizenCon this year? Subbed up for 40 months, dude. Holy crap. I appreciate you, dude. Arctic Wolf, good to see you. Subbed up for 10 months. Welcome in, my friend. How you doing? Let's see who's all in here. Matt Sully was first to come. Welcome in, dude, with the toes. Thanks for dropping the toes in chat. Nomad, good to see you, dude. Christoph, would love to produce space tomatoes in a space greenhouse. Dude, we gonna have to have a greenhouse. Like, one of my many goals in this game is to host a powerful cartel. I mean, a powerful supplier of medical goods, completely legal and entirely safe. So we'll have our own department for that in GII, and if they don't give us greenhouses for that, we're gonna have problems. Brigadier Bo, how you doing, dude? Good to see you, Space Guy. Ty, welcome in. Another unique name, Echo Zeppelin. Toes Gang. Milky Olive Strawberry Milk Toes Gang. Lycos, you got a messed up schedule? As long as the mess up allows you to be here, I'm all for it, dude. Pedro, good to see you. Artax, welcome in. Ananzi! Subbing it up.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming
Chachi
in.
dropping
This
it
is your
early.
captain
Freaking
speaking. Tomato will be with you
great.
shortly.
Welcome in, folks. Look, there's little parachutes. Yay! Hey, folks. Hey, how you doing? Welcome in. We are just getting started. I haven't even finished my hellos. We're going to talk about engineering today, though. It's going to be a good time. You doing some VR today, my friend? Can I get a shout out for the man, please? Ananzi, avoiding work while pulling up a stream is your favorite thing to do in the world. Not slacking, just slacking. At least you're not slacking on Slack, dude. Slack is such a confusing app. Discord all the way. It's 1:40 a.m. over there in Australia. When a Galaxy video coming? Galaxy video? Oh, dude. When are they going to say something about the Galaxy? I don't know. I do want to do videos about ships. It would be fun. It would be fun. Luna Maria, hello. Love seeing you in chat. You're going to be in Asia next week during the streams. Oh, it's going to be late for you then, huh? Azariel, welcome in. Long time. Good to see a tomato dropping in. Tiny home. Ah, the tiny home. New music? New starting music? No, it was the good old Deus Ex. Deus Ex and then keywords, my go-to starting combo. Bailey and we never left. You were just sitting there on the computer the whole time? I believe it. No rain for us today. It's clear skies outside. I think a couple clouds here and there, but honestly, thank God. It was raining like crazy when we left for the hospital the other day. Did we get a shout out for Chachi? Yes, we did. Thank you. Let me just like move my stuff around here so I can see more what's going on. There we go. There's some delay. Like a voice delay. The sooner you're better, the sooner you can shoot the tomat. Ah, God. You guys just know what's important. What's up, Bucket? Welcome in, man. Fury. Hey, people think this is a time sink, but they're happy with their ships blowing up constantly. The biggest time sink. Dude, this is going to be a... We're going to go over all of it. But this is going to be an anti-time sink, in my opinion. Yeah, there's usually a bit of a sound delay on my voice. Let me see. Let's see. I might be able to change it up, but all of the sound is coming through the same place. So like if I change up the delay on my voice, it'll change up the delay on the computer too. See if that fixes anything. How about now? Lagos can't afford to fly out to the UK. I get you, dude. Join us in the garden then. We'll set up a little event for a watch party. Rob Rollins, how you doing? Peregrine, good to see you. Thanks for joining the Discord. Revixie, Crab, good speed. Paul. Hey, people think... Oh, I just read that. Oh, I see. You typed in it again. Brig, have fun at the classes, dude. Teach your students about Star Citizen. You know how it is. Nomad, thank you for the bits, man. Vargan, love the deep dives and facts about every little bit of the game. This is going to be a deep dive. Say hi to YouTube, everybody. Don't know if this part will be on it, but Slack is just Discord for boring business people. Yeah. Yeah. Mrs. T is in chat. She made it. She lives. You want to come and show everybody your I don't even know what to call it. What do you call it when you get a thing from? What do you call it when you get something from somewhere?
Like I look beautiful.
There it is. The big old white nose.
I look so pretty.
It looks like you just have like two fuzz balls
Gosh.
as nostrils, yeah.
I can't believe I'm in front of 100 people like that. It is what it is.
It's gonna rain? What? I thought the sky was clear. Are you serious? Hold on. I gotta see this. Cool. It's gonna rain, folks. Let her sleep. She tired? Nah, she'll be in chat with us. But she'll probably also sleep, yeah. Rain over stream. Nonsense. Stream over rain any day, folks. It's me and you. Me and you. I get you. You get me. Let's do this. Let's talk about engineering. Okay. So, to start, here's I'm just going to give you a little bit of a look. Whoa. Hey, thank you for the super chat. I can't even see that here. Thank Orlando Noble. Appreciate you. Thank you for your support on YouTube. You're a homie. You're a citizen. You have held the line. I'm sorry, I won't say that again. Yamix! What's up, dude? You know this is out of left field, but what were the major updates this year? That is left field. I don't know. Dude, I don't even know what's considered major anymore. I've lost all perspective of what a major update is at this point. Reese, hello. Arvid, Hexamir. Jared's currently at Abbey Road where the OG Star Wars soundtrack was recorded. Squadron 42 OST being recorded there. You know what? Hold on a second. Let me see something. We go to what's his name? What's his name? Come on. Why can't I remember his name? Composer. Joff. Thank you. Jeff Sanelli. He said something about recording bagpipes this month. Where was it? Here it is. 2 weeks away from a bagpipe recording session. That would be almost 2 weeks ago to the day. There is a very good chance that they are recording bagpipes for Squadron 42 either today or tomorrow. That's some good research. Good job, guys. Way to go, team. Dude. Love me some bagpipes now. In fact, can we just take a moment? Can we all just take a moment to go back and just real quick? I gotta hear them now. Can't just talk about them and then not listen to them.
Copy that. On our way.
Yeah, Yemex is in YouTube chat. You'll have to make more shit posts. More drive-bys. Come on, then. Sorry, you just gotta have it at least once. I I can't bring up the bagpipes and not listen to them. I'm excited to basically we can confirm that they are recording something at least right now, and it has to do with bagpipes. Okay. Alrighty. So let's talk about engineering. Do I think, given the tests they just ran, that launching Pyro and server meshing together is really necessary, or is it more wow factor marketing? I mean, it's not necessary. They could have always launched Pyro, but they've made it pretty clear they're not going to. Just want to have it all in 4.0. All right. So engineering started a while ago. Now, you could actually go all the way back to, check this out, Star Citizen, ship maintenance and repair design doc. You can come all the way back to this. Oh, I got it backwards. It's ship repair and maintenance. And scroll down, and you will find some stuff about engineering here. It's a little bit different because things have changed over the years as they've designed the game and come up with different things and all that jazz. But here they talk about subcomponents, right? Power conduits, coolant rods, EM insulators, heat sinks, capacitors, all that jazz. You go down further, you got module racks. Tells you about component installation. These can be found on the hull, under maintenance hatches, enclosed cockpit ships, or internally in the engineering section of larger multi-crew ships. Replacing a damaged component is a simple case of interacting with the item in question. The player will then remove it, freeing up the slot. If the player has a replacement in their possession, they can interact with the empty slot to place it. So, components on larger ships, such as the Idris or Retaliator, can require a large number of subcomponents to function. I don't know if they're going to do subcomponents still. I think we've got some footage of them. They did develop subcomponents for a while, but we have not seen anything about them since this video right here.
Here we've got the manufacturers going along here, and aside each one you'll see a destroyed state. The idea is that over time these become worn and eventually destroyed, hence why you need to replace them. So each one has its own broken variant.
Sorry, I'm just gonna like screenshot that echo and send it to Mrs. Tomato because that's a genius idea. So these are the subcomponents they were making. They had animations figured out.
Display the sub items in front of the player, so you can.
They had like full-on art going on for them.
You'll see here from the inside the interior here that the sub items are quite dense and complex in design, especially when compared to the exteriors.
So you can see this is like, these are literally inside of the components that we already know. And the idea that I think they originally had was that the components wouldn't take the damage, the subcomponents would take the damage. So if we go off the idea of what engineering is now, your subcomponents would take damage to damage the components, which would take damage to damage your ship. And I don't know if they're still going through with that.
Quite important to us is brand identity. So other than the obvious decals with logos on littered about, we want the forms to describe the manufacturer. So in this Aegis one, you've got a lot of flowing shapes, a lot of double chamfers, quite sophisticated, where in contrast you've got lightning power where everything's a bit more utilitarian, there's more function over form sort of stuff going on. So that's what we knew of subcomponents, and actually they even had some animations going on. This was more recent too. This is when is this from? We don't have a date on this one. I think this one's actually fairly recent. 2021, yeah. So at least as of 2021, they had plans for subcomponents, but I don't know what exactly they're doing with them now. But they used to talk about them, and they talked about engineering, and this design document came out in 2015. So engineering is about 9 years old, at least, as an idea. Jump forward to 2020, and this was our first real look at how it worked. Narrated by Dan Truffin. Check it out.
One way the resources are managed.
Yeah, fuses I think were what subcomponents turned into.
One way to produce them, and all the items everywhere they use the same system. So we started by creating this small example of a ship where we have a power plant, we have a fuel tank, a battery, we have lights inside the ship, we have turrets, we have weapons. We try to build a priority system, so you never want your lights to have the same priority as, for example, your power plant or your weapons. Basically, as soon as we start the simulation, the power plant goes, I'm online now, but I have no fuel. So all of this energy right now, the lights start draining the battery. If we put some fuel in the fuel tank, as soon as we put it in, the power plant starts going online, the battery starts replenishing because there's not that many consumers online. If I go, okay, let's say I set my weapons, my laser weapons to fire, as soon as I do that, there will be more drain on the energy. We can actually see we have a simulation of resources. We know we're producing this much power and we're requesting this much. We're running everything through exactly the same system. Now,
So you can basically look at this graph and draw a line directly connecting this to what they're showing us here. Like it's, yeah, this is the debug and this is the developer thing. This is super early. 4 years ago, they were working on this, but it eventually turned into this, the power management system.
same thing. Let's say someone takes out our power plant because it got shut down or got sabotaged. Automatically now we're on battery power. It might go, okay, we don't need weapons now. We're going to turn them off. Lights, I only need the one in the front, so I'm conserving a bit of battery power until I can repair my power plant. Once I repair my power plant, this goes online and I can start turning stuff on again. And this was our first thing we did, where we built the ship, and we built this tool in a way that allows us to build different ship configurations. So as you can see, you can kind of understand the basic shape of a hammerhead. As soon as I turn on the simulation, we can see we have both power plants are starting.
Pretty sure this is not how much, like they had so many relays in the hammerhead. Imagine trying to take care of this whole ship with all these relays. I think we get maybe half of this amount of relays in the ships now.
Power, the fuel tank starts to get drained. The battery is on full capacity. We have these relays. Relays are a new concept that we're introducing in the ship in order for all those resources to travel from the fuel tank to the power plant, from the power plant to the battery, from the battery to the lights. Everything travels through these relays. Now, each relay you have on your ship is going to consume power. So the less you have, the more efficient you're going to be. The more you have you're going to be more redundant. For example, in this case, let's say someone sabotages this and they destroy this part. You can see already this part of the ship lost resources. If we lose this one, this power plant is off. Let's say now I need to start shooting. So I'm manning my turrets and they're shooting. I'm starting my hammerhead doesn't have these weapons exactly here. We're just trying to simulate a ship at this point. You will start notice my lights started going off because in the priority my lights are very low priority. If you look at the battery is starting to drain.
Who needs lights?
Say at this point it reaches 0. It ran out. Now this turret is off, it doesn't have power. This one is not running at what we requested because there's only one power plant running right now. Now, if I have a mechanic on board, he'll go, okay, this relay is broken, get power back to that power plant. As soon as we got power back to the power plant, we're starting to get our resources back, lights start going back online, we're back in business at this point. But let's say we have, I don't know, a smarter saboteur that goes, well, I kind of see how this ship is configured. I'm actually going to cut it in half. And this is usually like a worst case scenario. The system is smart enough to understand the idea that once the ship is cut in half, this front part of the ship has its own resource network, and this part of the ship is its own resource network. So it runs them independently. So everything in the back gets powered by these 2 power plants, but anything in front, it's completely dead because our battery is dead. As an engineer, your main goal is going to be to keep your ship as operational and as efficient as possible. So let's say now I'm transporting goods. I'm just moving from A to B. It's a pleasure cruise, no problem. I never want to travel like this. Each of these relays is going to be a drain on resources. So I'm going to turn this one off because I can turn this one off and I can turn this one off, and power and resources still have a route to travel, and I'm still keeping everything online. I'm trying to minimize the number of things that I'm powering on the ship. So this would be a viable configuration in which I'm still keeping everything on the ship fully functional. But let's say I go into battle. With this configuration into battle, if I take a hit here and this gets shot or gets sabotaged, I instantly lost half of my firepower. So it's a good thing to use when you're not in danger. When you're in danger, you just switch stuff to a more redundant system. Besides this, with all...
Can you guys hear the rain in the background? Dude, it's crazy how this rain works. It's like, is this a September thing? This is the first time we've ever lived this close to the water, definitely during this time, so I am not used to this. This is wild. It's like every couple of days this happens. And it's gone. Is it still raining? I wonder if I can pick up the camera and take you guys with me. Is it still light out that way? Turn him around. And we're gone. Oh, we're back. We're mobile. Take him over there. Show him. Can you guys see the rain? Yeah, you can kind of see it. See, it was like clear. You can literally see the clear sky over there. It just, the clouds are just like, hey, I'm gonna f you up with the water. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your trip. Courtesy of Mrs. Tomato. All right. That little side venture. So this was an example of engineering, and holy crap. Crap? Did I just bleep crap? Imagine if we actually had this many relays on the ship. That would suck. This would actually suck. They definitely have to balance it so that you're not constantly worried about relays, and I think they're getting that more with the gameplay surrounding components and stuff. Thank you.
Rock.
Thank you. Yes, the view is wonderful from here. It is a very nice view. We are very happy with the view. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Snakey. Appreciate you. User Holmes. Yeah, the relays, this would be far too many relays, I think, for anybody to actually have an enjoyable experience, especially on a ship like the Hammerhead, where it's just constantly getting shot out. So we'll see where they go from there. But let's jump into what actually engineering is looking like. And then throughout this episode, I'm going to continue to jump back to some of the more old videos, the historical stuff that they've shown us, so we can see how they've developed to get to the point where they're showing us in this episode. But let's check out what just came out and is supposed to be coming in Alpha 4.0.
Engineering, the next major step forward in multi-crew gameplay. Built on top of the in-development resource networking system, itself a harbinger of fire and a new reality for all life aboard spacecraft. It's been the subject of CitizenCon presentations, Q&As on Star Citizen Live, explorations on Inside Star Citizen, and fervent discussion by many of the content creators in our community. And on this final episode of ISC before hiatus and we turn all of our attentions towards CitizenCon, we invited Torsten, Bastian, and Guillermo to update us once again on the current intention and implementation of engineering, and what you can expect when the first iteration makes its way into the persistent universe.
The resource network enables us to actually give you the gameplay that you were always looking for, which is having meaningful multi-crew gameplay, which means that it really makes sense to have multiple people running around on your ship, and that wouldn't be possible without the resource network.
Okay, that's like The Expanse when that little space rock goes flying through the ship and just destroys that guy's head. That's what I keep seeing with these ballistic shots coming through.
So we say that the resource network is a system that allows all the items and components that are part of the ship to talk to each other.
Every ground vehicle, every base, everything that runs in Star Citizen with resources.
That's like a really key part that he just kind of mentions. Every base, every outpost we go to, they kind of led on to that with the older ISC from a couple months ago, or maybe last month, whenever that was. Bases are going to run on the same system. Bunkers, distribution centers, bases, space stations, all of them are going to run on like a power system. So little satisfactory vibes going on there.
Fundamentally, Resource Network is a replacement for the pipe system we had in the past that you may have heard about.
We chose a similar system, basically doing most of what we're doing right now with the Resource Network, but in a way that was not as scalable as what we intend to do.
Terrapin.
So right now we just have one type of hydrogen fuel, but if we want to extend that in the future to having like multiple types that have some specific benefits on the thrusters, it's very easy now to add that resource. It's just a data setup.
I think they talk about that in the 100i Q&A.
Technology for the system to work, and engineering is the gameplay we intend to have on top of this technology so that players may experience it.
Your ship flies because, you know, the thrusters get fuel, the power plants output power that the weapons and the sails and also the thrusters use. Engineering is all about both maximizing the use you get out of the resource network and also getting the resource network itself going so that you're not dead in the water.
It's all things that players will be able to interact with. They will have to dedicate roles in their ships so that crew members are assigned to fixing those issues, and they can encounter more dynamic situations that will not happen in the previous systems.
The goal right now is to have all the components on the ship being physicalized. That means that the things that will take damage will be the components. That then means that those components are the reasons to the failure of your ship.
Yo, that is pretty nuts. That was in the monthly report too. We saw that in the monthly report and we were like, oh, that's cool. When's that going to happen? And then now they're like, 4.0. But I don't think that's going to happen to every ship. Like, come on, guys. What game are we playing? There's no way that's going to actually happen for every spaceship in this game all at once. This is going to be... In fact, I think they mentioned this. What was it, a monthly report? Was it a Spectrum post somewhere where they mentioned that it was just going to be a certain amount of ships, maybe like 12 ships or something like that, that would be getting updated to this new system. And then they would slowly go through and get all the other ones. They were picking like the most popular ships first, I think it was. Can someone confirm? Because that's actually pretty important. I'd like to know that. They said it in the same video, but not how many. There was somewhere earlier this year where they literally listed out the ships. They were like, these are the most popular ships. These are the ones that we're going to update first. But it was somewhere in here. Here we go. Core gameplay implemented a new behavior for critical components, which will replace the existing soft death mechanic. When live, only certain items like power plants will trigger an explosion or soft death when it's destroyed. This was such a big deal when we read it. And now it's... I love to see that it's actually just coming in the next update. That's cool. A2 Reclaimer. I think they mentioned the Cutlass, right? I hope the C1 is ready for it. Dude, this is such a huge change to our ability to use our ships. Like, this makes our ships our home, yeah? You don't have to just go back to a space station to get repaired anymore. If you mess your ship up, you can just repair it. And I guess that doesn't really work out for like if you're like me and you run into the ground and you lose a wing. I don't know what's going to happen there. I guess you still can't repair that kind of stuff. But if you get shot up a little bit, if like you mess up your thruster and you have a torque imbalance, you can avoid having to go all the way back to the space station and dealing with the time sink. You can avoid having to claim your ship in order to just get it back to 100% health. Gives you a lot more ability to avoid like just going and returning to a space station, which is important when we're going to be in places like Pyro. Not the Cuddy? I hope the Cuddy. I wish you could... I don't know where it was that they mentioned that. Maybe if I just type in Star Citizen, what ships get engineering? What are the chances that actually pops up? Oh, here's a post from 2017. That'll probably... Oh, here we go. Perfect. This 2013 design document, this will tell us all about it. Yep. I guess so this predates the 2015 one that I found. Here's the pipe system. This is actually what they're replacing with the resource network. Yeah, I wish I knew which ships they were. It's not going to be all the ships, though. I think we all know that. In our hearts and our minds. In our souls.
You have the power plants, which generate the energy that your ship consumes. You have the shield generators, which take in some of that energy to convert it to shield power. You have a radar system that allows you to target the signatures of ships.
Okay, but can the radar work?
You have coolers that generate a coolant resource.
And when I say the radar work, you know what I mean. Like really work. Like get a rework.
It is all the weapons that you have, it's the quantum drive, but there are also new components that will be added to the mix, and that
I think the quantum drive should be another one that you can blow up. The power plant and the quantum drive seem like the two components that if you blow those up, they gonna blow the f up.
is the relay with its fuses, then there's the life support generator.
Drake still has the 2D radars.
The biggest thing we are aiming for is switching from your health pool of the bespoke ship to just moving that completely over to the physicalized component. So damaging the component is damaging your ship.
So I got questions there, because we were just talking about if you lose a wing, does that not affect, like, how much of the ship can just get stripped away and you're still flying? I guess is my big question. If you have a hammerhead, how much of that ship can get shot off and you can still like fly around because you have a power plant, you know? And like one thruster. Could I just have a little stick of a hammerhead left over? Because this is a really freaking cool idea, but how far does it go, at least for this first situation? Yeah, does it depend on the ship? Is it about where the thruster is? Because that could be pretty cool. No, the Drake radar is 2D in the new remake of the MFDs. They got their little screen thing. It looks pretty good.
Component, so damaging the component is damaging your ship. I think this is the part where the biggest change for the players happen, because there the gameplay of repair comes in, and then you can revitalize your ship. So you can actually use your formerly dead in the water ship after exchanging or repairing the components.
Salvage boys, rise up. How many abandoned ships are you going to find in Pyro and try to repair back to working and just fly it away? Oh, man. This could be so good for this game. But we need more players, right? We need more players in each server so that there is the chance of finding more dead ships.
Well, we mentioned one of the new components, which is the life support generator. So let's talk about life support.
The life support does all the tasks necessary to maintain the life support inside the ship.
So it's the temperature, it's the atmosphere.
Who needs life?
Position,
Who needs life support?
Pressure inside.
Wait, hold on. I gotta see that screen again.
So it's the temperature, it's the...
Okay, so I haven't actually paused on this screen yet. You got coolers. What is this, the C2? I didn't even see what
The
ship
tasks
there.
necessary to maintain the life support inside the ship.
So
Oh, this is Zeus.
it's the temperature, it's the...
All right, so you got two coolers, you got your radar, life support. What is this? Quantum drive? Quantum drive, I'm guessing. Shields, thrusters, weapons, power supplies. And then you could probably have a battery over here. Cooling system up here, life support up here. You got all the notifications over here. This is such a better UI than like we used to have. Let's see. When they first introduced us to this system, I think this was the first screen they ever showed us that they were switching over to this sort of power system. I don't even think they had a UI for it. So we had this. Yeah, we had this like design brief, but they didn't give us any look at the gameplay because it wasn't there yet. This was back in 2023. So they were still working on the UI at this point. But all they gave us was this, not the power
connecting
management
to
screen.
each other, and the relays connecting to the items. Color and shape below the icons should help you identify the different item types, like power plants, weapons, also helping differentiate between consumer, producer, and converters. You can tell the current state of the item, that means the amount of energy it produced.
But then he got to talking about this, and this was the
Resource
first time we
consumption and
learned about
generation.
actual power management.
About energy balance. Currently, ships are balanced such that they consume less energy than they produce. What I mean with that is that the sum of all items requires less energy than the power plant will provide. And this has to change. The energy rebalance that I will explain to you now will affect mainly bigger ships. Single-seaters will still behave like they do now. For big ships, we will focus on item groups. Those require energy, but your ships will not provide enough energy to have all components run at 100% all the time. Instead, you have to decide what you want to have permanently powered by your power plant. So managing decisions.
Anybody else ever like turn on a couple different fans, maybe a space heater, a microwave, a stove, and then you go into a room and you flip the light and everything shorts? Just me. All right, cool.
Will have an impact now. You could decide, as in this example, to shut down your thrusters to turn on the weapons. Isn't the best choice, since you will not be able to maneuver, so might not help when you are attacked. You would be able to shoot though. And here comes in the batteries. In scenarios where you need to react, you can activate the batteries and use the additional power. Batteries won't last forever, but you at least can power additional systems. You will be able to recharge the batteries again, but you need to free up energy from the power plant to direct into the batteries. I think that was a little bit more than just a recap, but now Guillermo will talk about malfunctions.
All right, so when it comes to this power supply stuff, what I'm wondering is when you have something like an Atlas suit or power armor, weapons that use power, anything that uses a battery, can you charge it from your ship? Like, what if I'm deep space and something runs out of power on the battery? Can I have the battery plug in and charge? Yeah, no, it's not normal. We had to get an electrician to come in and fix that. You had your lights go out because you accidentally hit your power splitter in your bathroom with your shower head. Ooh, jeez. Yeah, that's not good. Then you have to go out in the snow and flip the circuit breaker back on. I hate flipping a freaking breaker. Yeah, multi-tool battery, tractor beam battery, anything on a battery, batteries. You ever put a battery in your battery charger to charge your other batteries for your battery charging? Wouldn't what you're talking about be charge and discharge gameplay? Yeah, but like once you run out of your charge, can you get more from your ship's power supply? Or would you, like, where does the charge start from, you know? Charging ports cost extra. Sucks to suck.
The atmosphere composition, it's the pressure inside the room. Your main responsibility is making sure that there's always enough life support resource produced to maintain a healthy atmosphere in the ship. So making sure that all the CO2 that you breathe out is actually converted into O2 again. Or if you vented a room, that the room is filled again. If your room is...
All right, life support. This is a fun one. We've seen some interesting things with life support. First, we've seen the idea that you can have too many people in a room. So this is like one of the balancing things for bigger ships, right? If you have too many people in your ship for the life support system, it can't keep up. Eventually it'll drain. People will die. You can see this here. Too many people in that room. And the O2 level is decreasing because life support can't keep up. Same thing will happen when it comes to fires. Oh, this isn't the fire one. This is just the room. Venting a room. They'll show us that in this ISC. Just trying to find all the debug stuff here. So this is showing the venting. There is explosive decompression too that they wanted to do. This is from a while ago.
The room system bleeds out, so we know the amount of bleed out. And here we go. This is a test. And when the doors open, there you are. There's a vacuum out there, and then there was oxygen, and the room system bled out to there, and it was done. And it only happened when the door fully opened, because the particular in the test there on the door, that was basically saying, once it's opened, I'm open, versus, oh, I'm open, as you opened, it would increase, which would be something we would fix. This is just a very...
So this is all like testing stuff that we don't know if it's actually going to be in there. I doubt they're going to have explosive decompression just yet. In fact, I think they will probably cheese it with the room system for now and still allow us to just be in a room, even though the atmosphere is sort of venting out. Because if some ships are working on this system and some ships aren't, that's going to be super confusing which ships you can have a helmet on and which ones you can't. You know what I mean? Oh, this isn't a system that limits the ship from running all systems at once. It just limits it from running all at 100% at once. It can power everything, yeah. It makes sense that components can overcharge or use more power than it needs to increase performance. Yeah, I would see it as like 100% is basically just overclocking whatever it is, unless they actually introduce overclocking, which would be useful for the tuner or the tuna. How long will suits give you oxygen? Well, for now, we get it for quite a while. You're concerned about door management, depressurize only the cargo and not the whole ship. Yeah, this is gonna have to, this calls for doors to get fixed so they don't automatically open. This calls for a lot of the ship designs to either get air shields or get very, very good warnings for you that you're stepping into a possibly vented room. Like, even on the Zeus, I kind of would expect doors to have something that shows us that the other side of that door is vented. You know, that would be an important thing to be able to tell just from looking at a door. And I'm a little surprised that's not in the newer ship designs already. Wondering how that will work. Air shields require power. Well, you better keep your ship powered. Magnetically sealed atmosphere. Common sci-fi trope. That's an interesting one. Panel needs to show nominal power levels, and then slots above for overcharged and slots below for undercharged. Perhaps.
It's getting too hot, it's cooled down again, so it's all about managing this resource inside the rooms. And as already mentioned in the previous episodes, it's life support management is also a good way to counter fire.
Yeah, so there you are. There you are venting the room. But
players have to counter or react to is misfires on components.
See, there was no pop-up here of the time left of oxygen, so I'm not sure if the suit recognizes that the room was vented, or if it's just reacting to the fire, because usually it would show you something in the bottom left, right? If your suit recognized you were in space.
Have to counter or react to is misfires on components.
Misfires are something that is already in the game in some form. Thruster charges, seal generator failure, stuff like that. We're just expanding it a bit, and pretty much the idea is that, you know, items that are damaged, that are too hot, or that, for example, are very old and degraded, will start misfiring. In some cases, that will be that it will take some extra damage. In other cases, it will be that they will stop working for a while. Other times, they will work indefinitely until an engineer comes by and manages to do some repairs.
That's pretty important. I saw somebody saying that they don't want to deal with their ship randomly having misfires, and he pretty clearly said there that they're only going to have misfires if they're damaged or like too hot or something.
We're just expanding it a bit, and pretty much the idea is that, you know, items that are damaged, that are too hot, or that, for example, are very old and degraded, will start misfiring. In some cases,
So like you're not going to get into your ship and just randomly start losing control of your thrusters.
that will be that it will take some extra damage. In other cases, it will be that they will stop working for a while. Other times, they will work indefinitely until an engineer comes by and manages to do some repairs. And some of the worst cases would be starting a fire, or in the case of, for example, power plants, engaging in a critical reactor failure and taking the ship with them.
There is a chance that if the power plant reaches 0 health, it will run into a critical failure, and that critical failure then will cause the entire ship to explode. It will give the player the time frame to react to that, so either by removing the component and throwing it out of the door and preventing your ship to explode, or even countering it by repairing the component and bringing it up to life again.
Can we just... This is immediately what I thought of. God dang it. After they talked about that. No, it wasn't Dutch. What? Reach. Not Reach. Not ODST. It was Reach. And it wasn't Dutch. Who was it? Who is it that sacrificed himself with the power supply bomb? George. It was George. George did it. It's a good moment. A pure moment. Yeah. Holy crap. Takes a long time to explode, huh? Is that the kind of explosion we're gonna get, CIG? When my power supply goes critical? When your Idris power supply blows up, it just completely incinerates another nearby ship? You're hyped for engineering, but God, you hope it's not tedious as you're thinking it will be. If you have to control temps or pressure from planet to planet, you're gonna get tired real quick. I mean, you won't have to control temperatures. Right, you don't have to control the temperature in your car when you go different places. It'll self-regulate. Temperature and pressure is just like if you open a door, maybe. But then you just, close the door. And you're probably good. I think temperature control is mostly going to be useful for things like transporting temperature critical cargo or livestock or personnel transport. I don't think you're going to have to continuously change the temperature in your ship when you're going different places. Even then, I mean, you can go outside in these crazy temperatures on these planets and be naked and you're fine. So even if the temperature on your ship is kind of wild, I don't think it's going to mess with you that much. Less displayed, but maybe it's because future armor archetypes, you'd like the option to have atmo level and composition and temperature displayed at all times or whenever you need. Sounds like perfect for a utility-focused helmet. Right? If the combat helmets can get a dynamic crosshair, then maybe your more engineering-focused helmets get more of that information in real time. It happens with every Aurora power supply. Jesus. Imagine, Auroras are just the new nuclear bombs. That's not even a nuclear bomb. That's so much bigger. I do believe nuclear bombs can't really hurt the Covenant that much. Does it not sound like we have to change temperatures and pressures? At 5:15. Let us see.
Or if you vented a room, that the room is filled again. if your room is getting too hot, it's cooled down again. So it's all about managing this resource inside the rooms.
He's saying if your room is getting too hot. So like if it's on fire, maybe, or yeah, probably if it's like on fire or something. But that's because the heat source is in the room. If you close your door in a hot situation, then the life support system is going to take care of whatever the temperature is. How our quantum drives are powered. They are the size of a suitcase. It's called quantum collision, atomic quantum collision. Something.
Entire ship to explode.
It's powered by copium,
It
dude.
will give the player the time frame to react to that. So either by removing the component and throwing it out of the door and preventing your ship to explode, or even countering it by repairing the component and bringing it up to life again. For the initial release, we have a limited amount of misfires, but we are preparing the system, or we did prepare the system to scale well for the future, so we can introduce multiple misfires.
Yeah, they're not talking about a lot of the stuff that they actually have planned for this gameplay. If you come and watch this video, listen to all the stuff that they have planned in terms of what components can actually do when they take a bunch of damage. Yeah, venting your ship will be the meta for handling fires, but you know, then you end up running your life support harder, so you have to replace that more. You could end up losing oxygen you need if you don't have a helmet on, all kinds of stuff.
But the way that you react as the engineer there is unique to each malfunction. All three dangers contribute to the health of the item and have an impact on each other. So since the first two are quite easy to grasp, let's dive a bit deeper into the malfunctions. Different items in different situations cause different errors. And while I can't talk about all of them today, here are some currently in development. There's disconnect, where you either don't have a relay right now in the place, or you don't have the item right now at the item port. Then there is power drop, where the required amount of power doesn't reach the item. Then there is misfire, where wear and tear impacts the functionality.
So the only thing we're actually hearing about right now in 4.0 is misfire
of your item. Then there is cloggage, where resources are prevented from reaching your item.
We've all experienced cloggage.
There's also power surge, where high energy reaches your item and will negatively affect the function of the item. And then there is leakage, which is similar to cloggage, where resources won't reach your item, but the cause is a little bit different. Then we have unresponsive, where you as the engineer try to communicate certain changes on the item and they will not reach the item. There is bugged, where we have the most experience.
They may have just decided that this was too much, you know,
being creative,
and simplified it.
Be surprised for what comes your way. And then lastly, we have destroyed, where you just lost your item. Bug can also be caused by hacking or being tuned incorrectly.
Hey!
Why do we introduce malfunctions? The reason is quite simple. It's something that you know from your real life. Like after a while, certain things start to malfunction. So you better pay attention to those malfunctions and know how to react to those. So your job as an engineer is preventing those malfunctioning from actually happening, or preventing the dangers that they create on your ship. And if you don't react in time, you might end up with cascading of errors that will in the end lead to the failure of your ship. It allows
It's going to be so cool to be battling another group of people in a big ship and not land the killing blow. Like, see their ship malfunction to the point where maybe it blows up, like you've done enough damage to their power supply, and you all don't know it on your ship. You're continuing your battle, but suddenly the ship just ruptures and there's an explosion, and you're like, oh, okay, we did them in. We did them in the bin. 4.0 is another year out. They're not going to release Pyro without 4.0. They won't do it. It just won't happen. If 4.0 is another year out, then Pyro is another year out. But that would be, honestly, that would be catastrophic for this after testing all this stuff this year. Why is my camera so far over there? Come on. There we go. Server meshing tests they're going all right. They doing okay. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows how they're going until except for CIG. I think the real blocker is server meshing, not Pyro, because we saw last year Pyro is pretty far along. Oh, it's definitely server meshing, yeah. They're saying that they think server meshing will be delayed for a year to come out at the end of next year. So Pyro should come out now. But I think they'll just release them both at the same time. They still have a problem with server meshing, and we still don't have rework mission for server meshing. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's 12 months away. That's a lot of time. To be honest, if you go all the way back to their expectations of the letter from the chairman, 2022, I think, May of 22. Let's see. One of those letters where they said things that were wildly off. Yeah, this one. So they expected, let's see. All right, so for PES, they wanted to do 2 to 3 months of testing on 3.18 in the PTU. How long did they do it? Let's see. They released the PTU for 3.18 in December, and they tested out until March. So it was about 4 months. Not bad. December, January, February, March. Yeah, 4 months or so, 3 to 4 months. After that, they wanted to then drop Pyro or 4.0 in PTU at the end of that year. And then launch it 3 months later. So they wanted to do about 3 to 4 months of testing there as well. I'm not saying believe this, okay? Obviously, they are way past Q1 of 2023, but it does seem like their testing follows a bit of that same schedule. And 3 months of testing server meshing, because right now it would be 3 months, right? Starting from September, mid-September, it'd be October, November, December. They'd get 3 full months of testing server meshing. I think that's enough time to get 4.0 into a PTU and figure out what's going on with it. But, I mean, that's just literally just based off of what happened with 3.18 and what they've said. I don't think anybody has any real clue as to what the complications of getting server meshing working in this environment or where they are with it. Hopefully we hear more about that at some point, but even if we do, most people probably won't believe them, so it's kind of just up to whatever happens, whatever our thoughts are. Yeah, I heard the server meshing test yesterday went pretty well. Sitcon is to speak about after 4.0, Jared said. I mean, they kind of got to at this point. What's up, real nerd? Mr. Ethan. I'm doing all right. I hope you're doing well. All right. Let's continue.
And that leads us to damage penetration.
So damage penetration is a simplified version of what we'll be getting eventually with a more physicalized system, but essentially what it means is that now certain types of weapons can penetrate through the hull of a ship. This is a function of the weapon itself, its penetration values, and also of the armor of the ship, which can be depleted over time.
So if you use ballistics, you have a higher penetration, which allows you to cut through the armor more deeply and touch the components inside the ship directly. As opposed to this, you also have energy weapons, which will be more effective at melting down the armor.
Okay. So this sounds like it might be a change overall to the game. Because if ballistics are going to penetrate the hull more, aren't ballistics already penetrating shields more? It seems like they would need to make it so that ballistics do not penetrate shields as much, or else wouldn't you just get shots going straight through the shields and the hull into the components on a fully shielded ship? Am I missing something there? I don't really play combat all that much, so I don't know how the guns work entirely. That's how they work? They're 50% reduced by shields right now. But they do go through the shields. Energy shots do not go through the shields, right? Armor slows ballistics. Yeah. Okay. So it seems like it would make the most sense for energy rounds to deplete shield and then ballistics to go through armor or ship hull. Because let me listen to what they say again here.
And touch the components inside the ship directly.
That over time.
So if you use ballistics, you have a higher penetration, which allows you to cut through the armor more deeply and touch the components inside the ship directly. As opposed to this, you also have energy weapons, which will be more effective at melting down the armor.
The goal here is that...
So energy weapons will melt down the armor, ballistic weapons will cut through it. That's confusing to me. I'm not sure I understand. What does he mean by melting down the armor? So like ballistics will do component damage, energy will do armor damage is what he's saying, yeah? What's doing the shield damage? Hit me with that info. There's 3 layers of damage we're talking about now. We're talking about shields, armor, and components. Distortions. You just got to carry 3 different types of weapons. Still energy for shields. Okay. So that's interesting. I wonder then when we will start to see ballistic caliber affect your armor penetration. There's just so many freaking variables in this, right? You got your ballistic caliber, you've got your armor strength, thickness, caliber, whatever you want to call it. You've got your shields. You got component health. Just like a lot. Think DCS cannons. I don't play DCS. You can't whip that out on me. Come on now, man. It's like coming up to somebody who lives in the desert and being like, hey, just think about how it is to jump in a lake. It's all wet and stuff. I guess there are lakes and deserts. Deserts have great lakes because they get all that rain, that monsoon time. Hull damage is separate from armor. It's a little bit confusing. I think that they're the same. Hull damage is armor damage. Oh, we got to turn off that Saber Peregrine redeemable. We're all done with that, folks. We got that one. Waiting for the next giveaway. So energy weapons are what's going to still be able to like melt off your wings, mess up your thrusters, chip off parts of your ship.
You first need to...
Ballistics will still do that, but it sounds like they're mainly going to be cutting through to your components and doing that integral damage that disables the ship. So ballistics, disabling. Energy weapons, damaging.
You to cut through the armor more deeply and touch the components inside the ship directly. As opposed to this, you also have energy weapons, which will be more effective at melting down the armor.
The goal here is that you first need to bring down the armor health value to get to the fullest potential of your penetrating weapons. Then you can penetrate the ship and actually damage the components that sit inside the ship and not.
So you got three levels of damage. Shields, armor, components. How are they displaying armor damage here though? Armor HP, because they're talking about it. We got shields, right? I can see that, the 4 shield walls here. And then I can see, I guess this would be armor damage, is whatever the color of the ship is. So component damage, do you get to know that?
To the fullest potential of your penetrating weapons, then you can penetrate the ship and actually damage the components that sit inside the ship and not on the outside of the hull.
Obviously, there's degrees to this. Larger ballistic weapons may have enough penetration against smaller ships that it will be able to penetrate directly, but it's all of a game of choices, and it's going to depend on your ships and your weapons.
Oh my god, that's going to be complex. But this is why I think it's good to not focus on just one part of the game as ruined. Like all these people who are like, oh, combat is terrible, combat's ruined, I'm never playing this game again because it's slowed down. And it's like, well, what about all the other things they can do to make combat fun? This seems like one of those sort of things that complicate it more than just the speeds of the ships. I'm not saying that that's not important. Let's not turn this into a... It's too late, I already did. I'm sorry, everybody. I turned this into a master modes debate. But, like, there's a lot of different angles that this game could get more complex combat. And this feels like a very key part of that. Armor is in the self-status components list.
But the weapons may have enough.
Not on the outside. The ship of your penetrating down.
Armor?
This is your armor. I'm talking about the target's armor.
The goal here is that...
But I'm guessing it would just show up on theirs just like this is right here on yours. Ballistics penetrate shields and armor and can hit components but lose kinetic energy going through it all. Energy weapons weaken shields and armor, allowing ballistics kinetic power to punch hard. So, follow-up question. Can we repair our armor? Is that just from the repair tool in the same way that it repairs components? Is that what we already have in game for repair? You know, the opposite of salvage? Would it be that same function that the multi-tool has? You guys thinking that's it? I don't shoot ships enough to know this stuff. I'm sorry. Honestly, it's funny too because this whole episode is really combat focused. It's Star Citizen. It's what they do. And I feel like all of this is going to make the people who are cargo haulers and miners and salvagers think that engineering is going to be super in your face. But it only feels like it during this episode because they're just talking about fighting. A whole bunch of fighting. You rock. You know that? What resources we need to fix components and how we'll charge in multi-tool and from where will we take it? That's what I was asking earlier. Where does the charge come from? Can you charge it on your ship? Can you recharge a battery on your ship? How does that work? I do think that it'll just use the RMC resource right now. Until Maelstrom is in the game, everything's probably just replaced with RMC. Wobbly said, all nice and fancy. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. But how are they going to handle the cockpits? Like, can you just pilot snipe then? Since we only have a glass front for protection, you're probably going to be invulnerable in the cockpit, I would assume. Do we have to take down components, or is it more like a crit for a skilled pilot? If they still have good health pools for some kind, we don't have to focus beyond the shields and armor like currently. Sounds like you just need to focus on their power supply. So you're not going to get like a lucky one-shot kill, which thank God. You still got to focus on taking the health down on their power supply, but you could, it sounds like you could technically do that through shields. Just probably not often at all. And probably most likely just about never. For what reason do you need people for your Carrack when your ship will not have engineering gameplay? What do you mean? You were fearing this based on opening doors to load or unload cargo, but like you mentioned, probably not as big a deal as you're thinking. Won't know until it's in your hands. Opening and closing cargo. You mean because of temperature and stuff? I think you're going to be completely fine. Because just run through it in your head. What would be the process you have to go through? If you were going to open up your ship to load cargo, you'd open the ship. Let's say the oxygen floods out and a hot gas comes in from the moon's atmosphere. You load your boxes back into your ship and then you close the door. Your life support system is already at its set. It's already at its set baseline. So it would automatically replenish the atmosphere in that room. You wouldn't have to walk over to a box and be like, turn the temperature back down to 20 degrees Celsius kind of thing. I think it just does that because it's already set to it. You just have to close the door. They're talking about hitting components, but what about hitting the crew? Dude, that's what I was saying. Like that guy from The Expanse got hit by the little meteor. Asteroid. Yeah, just repressurize. What if the hot gas is coming from your co-pilot? The hot gas is coming from inside the house. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, f***. All right, let's keep going. I'm sorry. So distracting.
Be more effective at melting down the armor.
Oh, was it a railgun shot? Thought it was an asteroid.
You first need to bring down the armor health value to get to the fullest potential of your penetrating weapons. Then you can penetrate the ship and actually damage the components that sit inside the ship and not on the outside of the hull.
Obviously, there's degrees to this. Larger ballistic weapons may have enough penetration against smaller ships that it will be able to penetrate directly, but it's all of a game of choices.
That's
and
wild.
It's going to depend on your ship.
Also, I realized we literally haven't gotten past the last place I paused at. I'm terrible. I was just talking about this on the last podcast episode with Avenger 1. And we were talking about the fact that like a small ship like the Arrow, its ballistics will do less and less damage as you go up the tier list of ships. So you go from the Arrow to the Vulcan, little less damage, up to a Connie, little less damage, up to a Polaris, probably basically no damage from the size guns to a Kraken. Like you're not gonna do. Not only are you not going to do penetration damage to something like that, most likely, you're not even going to do armor damage because your guns are too small. And it's all part of this balancing of how does combat play out when you have ships of multiple sizes, different speeds, different strengths, turrets, no turrets, interiors, no interiors, components, less components, all that stuff. This is going to be fucking wild. Oh my God. And like this is what I mean when I'm like 4.0 marks the point where they're actually making the game. 3.0, in all honesty, 3.0 and a 3.x branch of patches feels like, all right, everybody, let's just give them something to be busy with while we figure out how we're going to build the rest of the game. And you can have all kinds of opinions about how bad or good that is. I don't think building a game like this while people can play it is a super smart idea. It seems a little ridiculously difficult. But it really does feel like 3.0 was treading water, building Squadron 42, and getting Star Engine into a place. Not only just Star Engine, but getting their teams of people into places where they could build the systems out. Because if you noticed, it was like around 2022 or so when all of their teams started to be presented on ISC, as teams started to deliver more updates as teams. Remember when we were getting around the verse and you would get an update for the whole studio, kind of like the monthly reports were? Over the last couple of years, it feels like they've really started to actually get their teams together and working together in a flow. You can see it in UI. You can kind of see it in the missions, definitely in the ships. And I think that's what 3.x updates were all about. 4.0 feels like, okay, now we can get the actual game together. And that pissed some people off, I know, for sure. I mean, that pissed me off, man. I really did hope that the game would be further along by now. I don't think anybody is happy the game's not further along by now. But it really goes to show where their priorities were for like the last half a decade. Yeah, well, I make Squadron. Torsten also mentioned they're adding in specific calibers for ballistic weapons to the size of your gun is going to be important. Yep. They might do a loading screen temporarily until they get server meshing working properly. Dude, I don't think they could even live that down. I really don't. Like, it's not even just kind of a pride thing. At this point, you can't go and do loading screens after all this hubbub about not doing loading screens, you know? Especially because they released a whole freaking Star Engine trailer last year where they're like, there's no loading screens. Still on the first system, only 120 to go. Could you imagine if we got 120 star systems at the detail of Stanton? Good straight Jesus freaking Lord, that would be nuts. You'd rather have a loading screen than delay for years on end? Yeah, a lot of people probably would say screw server meshing. Just give us a bunch of systems connected by loading screens. But the crappy part would be those systems would not be... I mean, look at the way Stanton performs right now. We'd have to go back to like 2018 Stanton for it to be stable. 2019 Stanton before they got Microtech in and they had to take out Delamar. It's just too much stuff in one system now. And they don't even have enough stuff for the missions that we want. For the mining, for the points of interest, for the asteroid bases, the base building. And you know, that's all some levels of feature creep at some point in the project. But if you want a full game and you don't want it server mesh, these star systems are going to kind of suck. Loading screen at jump points make total sense and would not hurt anything. Can keep server meshing for each system and planet and whatnot. But if you get server meshing working for the system, why cut it out for the in-between systems? It just, what's the point? What's the point of only doing it in some places? And why are you guys distracting me? Stop it. Let's go. Come on. It's freaking engineering.
Weapons.
So with damage penetration and misfires happening, that brings us to repair.
As your fight progresses and components take damage in your ship, it becomes the duty of some of your crew members to first investigate what are the issues caused by battle damage and go there to physically replace the parts in your ship.
So you have your multi-tool, so you have the salvage and repair, and the repair part of it also affects now ship components, precisely like what you see in the Arena Commander mode. You will be able to repair...
Man, I haven't played the Arena Commander version of this in a while.
...items that were fully destroyed. You will not be able to repair the item to its fullest, so you cannot repair an item that got fully destroyed to 100% health again. So to repair your ship components to the fullest, you actually have to bring them to the shop again and do the station repair. Or if you did think ahead and brought spare items with you, you can simply exchange them to pristine new ones. But with the caveat, it only works, just as a reminder, for size 1 and size 2 components.
Oh my
Size
gosh,
3
this
and
is
above
gonna be
cannot be exchanged.
You could be a traveling component vendor in the Pyro system. You could literally go to the Pyro system, get the rare components that they have as loot there, and then take them back to Stanton and sell them for such a high up mark. You don't even have to take them to a shop. You could just fly around to all the people in Stanton. Dude. Ah! Yes! Yes! Say it with me, Mrs. Tomato. Yes! I'm sorry. Go lay down. You're beautiful. Oh, man. I'm so freaking excited for that. That's like, it's such a simple thing, but the ability to actually not only have things that are rare and hard to get only in certain places in the game, but also have those hold some legitimate value to people. Yeah, only size 1 and 2s will be tractor beamable. I do wonder if they will have the subcomponents. Somebody mentioned this in chat. If they will do the subcomponents we looked at the beginning of this video for those larger components, so you do have a way to repair them still.
Using the tractor beam detach and attach mode. So now that we looked at...
Hold on, I'll let him say it again.
Size 3 and above cannot be... Reminder, for size 1 and size 2 components, size 3 and above cannot be exchanged using the tractor beam detach and attach mode. So now that we looked at what your responsibilities are in the physical space running around in your ship, let's take a look at what you do on the virtual part, which is power management and analysis of your ship on the engineering screen. So the first...
This looks way better than it did a year ago. Like, this is what they were presenting at CitizenCon.
Suddenly the entire...
Here's what the engineering gameplay looked like if you guys haven't seen it yet in real time.
And here you see all the details.
Like, this was a usable UI, but it was pretty painful to use. I don't know, it was something about the way that it was presented still made it a little bit not super readable, but also the controls just weren't great, the way that the mouse interacted with the actual UI itself.
The relay consists of several fuses, basically they're their own set of lives. And here you see all the...
If you can repair components, why would you ever replace them? So you can't repair them all the way to full health if they have been fully damaged, but also there's long-term damage that components will take. So you have, this is going to be the same way for armor, for ship hulls, for guns. Everything in this game will have wear and tear over time, and it'll also have repairability. So you can repair it, but God, there's a good game like this. I know Metro does this. Metro games do this. Other games do this, like Bethesda's Fallout games, I'm pretty sure do this. Red Dead Redemption might do this too, where you can always fix the thing, but it'll never be back to its perfect situation. Yeah, kind of diminishing return sort of stuff. So you'll eventually want to replace your component either way.
The details. You can click on the items to see a 3D render of the power plant here, the quantum drive, sorry. And here's the relay.
Stalker, yeah.
Here Pete shoots a relay to show the UI updates on the screen. So once this relay got shot at, you will see the update here on the UI that suddenly the entire right-hand side of your ship lost power connection. And what you might...
No, S3 can be at 100%. You just have to go back to the repair station. It's just with the multi-tool that you can't get it back to 100.
Have not picked up on the screen is that actually the power plant here that I'm now focusing on is on low health. So I'm commanding Simon to repair the power plant to get it fully operational again.
Actually, no. Now I get what you mean. You probably will have to replace it, yeah.
So something to highlight here. Take a closer look at the doors. Since we also track the door states, you see that you can watch movement inside your ships now nicely. So you can track players moving around in your ship and even close doors for them, or like compartments in this case where Simon just forgot to close the compartment.
Doors!
Yeah, so Pete destroyed the relay. We need the ship in fully functional state. So yeah, I'm running now with a fuse and place it in the relay, so make the relay work again. What you can also do with the doors is that you can create safe pathways, because you sitting at this engineering screen have more information in regards to your
See, it was like always a hand, no matter what you were selecting, which was kind of weird.
On your ship have to take. Now to the room view. That is mainly the life support controls plus controlling all doors. Again, we show the details of each room, like the temperature, pressure, atmosphere composition, so everything that is relevant for like you living on a ship. We also show the door states, where you can now have precise control over each door in your ship, as you see here. This will also allow you to have more control over which door or compartments to open. So here, again, showing opening the power plant. That also helps very much in already telling players, hey, you should repair this item, so I open that door for you, and they directly know which item you mean. It also allows us to control like the outside-facing doors much better. So you can directly open.
I don't think we'll be able to remove S3 components at all. Because they're too big. It's too much work to get them out of the doors of these ships. Yeah, so I still feel like even if you do go to a space station, like I was saying, there should be that long-term wear and tear. Like, everything should eventually deplete over time. Maybe very slowly. But I do think there should be two levels: repairability, wear and tear. Repairability can always get up to 100%, but your wear and tear of something should always be depleting very, very slowly, in my opinion, and need to be replaced. And the bigger the component, maybe the slower that goes, right? Or whatever you're doing with it. But it does. We'll have to see how that factors into ship maintenance, if you can actually get things back to true 100% health whenever you want at a space station.
Thing that you will see is the 3D view of your ship that highlights the location of all the ship components.
So this is the same exact ship, and I think it looks a lot better than this. More readable, a little bit less distracting, definitely less UI overlapping.
Components and how they are actually connected, where the relay positions are, what's the status of the relays are. You will see the holograms of each component.
As you can see, they have different colors. What they are representing is the overall state of the item. So an item that is very damaged, or it's on fire, or it's not getting enough power will be in a critical state. Items that are less damaged, are receiving only partial resources, or are going through a misfire, may have moderate colors. And items that are otherwise fine will have the functional or blue colors.
The biggest change that happened to the engineering UI screen is basically the power management part of it. We moved away completely from slider control for every individual item. There is indicator now for fuel. This is not relevant for the initial release, but it will be relevant for the future. Next to it, you see the power plant. The power plant segments gives you an idea of how many power segments you can distribute to.
So somebody was saying that you should have a preset for fully powered, and then an area above that preset for overpowering. I think that might be what this white arrow is. Like, you can set it for yourself as to where you consider yourself fully powered on that component based on your own needs, and then you can add additional power if you want to. Carrick will not have engineering gameplay because you can't remove components when the reality is that they are not intended to be moved. Yeah, the Carrick still has engineering gameplay in the fact that components can be damaged, they can catch on fire, you still need to control your power maintenance. The only difference between a Carrick and a Constellation is you just can't remove the Carrick's larger components. But that's it. You still have to take care of the rest of the engineering gameplay there.
Yum, 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 yum.
Where are you getting that they have an idea of a plan, Screwball? Aren't we like literally watching the gameplay? Alzanor, hello. Good to see you. Welcome to chat. Thanks for joining us. On a long enough time scale, also depending on what you do, if you get into combat more, then that will likely be more common. Yeah, I think, again, people who aren't doing combat don't have to worry about this kind of stuff that much. Character still hasn't been completed anyways. There's about 6 different key things the character exposed to be able to do that still doesn't. Which character? Did you know life support will be like CitizenCon? They show us, or will be different? Yeah, there are consumables for the life support component. At least last we heard. But I only know as much as you know. As long as folks don't make attacks on people to say things that are offensive, they are welcome to put down their thoughts. Even if they're not giving out correct info, they may be misinformed and just don't know any better. Yeah, I'm sorry you feel like you can't talk here, Zaleus. I think we have a pretty friendly crew. Everybody shares some different opinions. Some people get a little intense with their arguments, but I say, you know, if you don't like that, don't engage. Still love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I think boosting would cause wear and tear. Running your mining lasers, your salvage beams, your tractor beams, all that kind of stuff would create more wear and tear on whatever components or fuses are being used for that kind of stuff. I would really love to see a basis on around civilian and industrial components being a lot less or a lot more reliable, but maybe less efficient and less good. Whereas racing, performance, and military components are much better at what they do, but maybe degrade faster. And then obviously you got your D through A ratings of components that can also give you a lot of variability in what you're using. Like there's a lot of room for them to make this customizing ships. Haven't timed people out to remove comments. Just because people disagree with you doesn't mean you can't talk. We love to talk. Your developer brain gets a little lightheaded thinking of how to integrate all these features into the game. I think they probably do too. Balancing. Yeah, the balance of this is going to be wild. Hope every multi-crew ship becomes almost like a raid for fighters or small ships. I think this gives them a lot of, like, this is going to make it very, very fun for them to just have large NPC-controlled ships that you can fight to board. All they have to do is give you, like, go retrieve the black box of this ship that these pirates have taken over. They're flying a Polaris that they stole from the local military. Jesus, imagine if like today's military just lost something equivalent to the Polaris. And they were like, hey, civilians, can you get this back for us? No, but just be like, hey, we've got a hammerhead that's missing. Go take this back. Board it, find the thing, and take it back. Super freaking good missions. That'd be tons of fun. You didn't add to the fires, Elias. You're good, dude. You don't have to lurk. Just saying, you can still talk. Well, Mrs. Tomato, why is your hair on my hair? Only Space Tomato talks here. Not true. Torsten's been doing a lot of talking. Maybe after 1,000 game hours of flying the ship, show some degradation. 1,000? Oh, game hours, huh? Parrish, I think that was Afghanistan, not Iraq. But I'm saying, like, I'm not saying we leave that stuff. I'm saying imagine they talk to civilians to go get it. That's the part that's crazy. Military folks lose shit all the time. But imagine going to the civilians and being like, hey, help. Imagine being a dev on this project and you're sitting here trying to figure out how to get all this into the game. The whole time getting yelled at to hurry. Hurry up! Figure it out!
To the ship items.
And on the right of each of the power bars, you can generally see the temperature bar. If it goes into overheating, the item will stop both consuming or producing, and it will be completely inoperable until it cools down again. So that means that assigning power to your coolers in advance is probably a good idea if you're going into a fight.
Nah, nobody needs a cooler.
Generates heat. So this is where you can see the amount of heat that each item has accumulated, and you can see the amount of coolant that you are producing and whether or not you are also running a deficit. So what you want to do is put as much power as you can into the coolers until your items do not overheat, but do not assign more resources than necessary because you are running a limited pool of
All right,
overheat.
so
But
this... Are these relays, each of these little boxes here? I'm struggling to figure out if every single one of these lines we can see on this screen is a selectable line, because as he scrolls over it, the lines,
put as much power as you can into
the lines highlight, right? But only certain lines highlight when you scroll over a component. See, like this line highlights. It's a little bit confusing to have a bunch of tiny little lines in the background if those are not also going to highlight. But maybe they are linked to the relays. It looks like there's like a dozen lines back here. But I guess that could be the case.
necessary because you are running a limited pool of resources.
The same applies to the life support generator. So you have to make sure that you produce enough life support resource that the demand is fulfilled in your ship. If your demand isn't fulfilled, it will cause some failures.
There's also a notifications panel. Here the main warnings about the state of the ship will be displayed. If an item is damaged, doesn't get enough power, or is misfiring, it will create a warning. You will be able to see it as a notification. Take a look at it, go to the item, or just remove it.
So you have an option that allows you to basically log the controls so that you or the pilot, which has access to the MFD, which shares some of the power management functionality, do not conflict with your controls. So by locking this, you are able to override the MFD settings to only have it being authoritative from the engineering station.
You are able to take the power assignment you have at a given time and save it locally on your computer, meaning that when you fly again with the ship, or even if it's not your ship but somebody else's ship, you can quickly apply your presets. This is very useful in the middle of combat. And you can quickly switch to a combat preset where you will give, for example, more power to shields, weapons, and thrusters.
This is something I didn't even think about wanting, but I always thought to myself, being an engineer, they're building enough into engineering that you could spend all of your time specializing on one ship, and you could be that go-to person for your whole org. Whenever they're taking this ship out, they know they come to you for the engineering, and then you always have the preset saved. I didn't even think about the presets needing to be a thing, but that makes so much sense. I'm really glad that they put that in there. And I'm also thinking, this is great for when you are, let's say you're like the head engineer of your org, and you've got a team of engineers in there that all need to be able to do the same thing on the same ships. You can just export your presets and send them to other people, right? It's just a file on your computer. That is fantastic. Dude, this is going to be such interesting gameplay to watch. I'm pumped for this. And yeah, I just like how this lets you specialize as a very unique person to a specific type of gameplay. And I think this is really indicative of how I always feel like Star Citizen should be going, is that each segment of the gameplay is so deep that you could just spend all your time specializing with one part of that gameplay and let everybody else take care of the other stuff. Tons of people might not like this, but if you have, you know, those 5 people that you know that do, you can always find one of them to take care of it. think they also need ship owner presets. What do you mean by that? Can I call Chris Roberts and see if he can give us these MFDs early? Let me see. Hey, what's up, my dog? How you doing? Oh yeah. Bed sheet physics, huh? Okay. My guy Rig is wondering about MFDs. If you can send them in early. Yeah, like a 3.24.1.1. Just like in between now and the 0.2. Yeah. Oh, you know, his birthday's coming up. It's a special day. Okay. Yeah, I'll let him know. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. Rig, he said buy another ship. And you should, yeah, it'll happen. I got you, dude. Never mind, bedsheet physics are more important. Sorry, you already asked. Too late. You missed out. Asking about the ironing boards for our formals. Dude, we don't even have bow ties yet, okay? Can you not get too fancy?
Or at the same time, you may want to have some nap mode preset where, you know, you reduce the power to everything and just put it on the bare minimum so there's no...
Dude, scanning and exploration, like the whole scanning gameplay with the deep space probes and stuff better be this deep or I'm gonna throw a riot.
Degradation or misfires related to power use.
So you can set a preset on your ship and then jump on somebody else's ship and load it up?
Indeed. Your presets are stored locally, so as long as you have access to the screen and you're using
What
the same
happens
ship,
if all of us buy another ship, then Squadron 42 comes out? What can I say? I'm not in charge of it, man. It's a big deal. Big news. But every single person has to buy a ship at the same time. Can we actually make that? Don't do it.
Can apply a preset. God. Obviously, if the components have changed or, you know, the ship has a different loadout, the preset might not apply perfectly and you might need to adjust it. But it gives you a quick baseline on how your power is assigned.
We hope that with these changes, players will have more varied opportunities to experience the game. We'll encounter more situations where it feels relevant and enjoyable to have multi-crew gameplay in the ships, so that you do not think it's just about filling in the battle positions, like the turrets and the pilot seats, but it's more involved gameplay to actually manage your ships and try to fix the ongoing situations that occur within them. And we also hope that this makes larger vehicles which have more interior space both more troublesome but also more enjoyable to play with.
We are still working hard to get it done for all of you. There are ships that already have the functionality. There are still ships that we are working on. But overall, we are super excited to finally get it into the PU. So the Arena Command Experimental Mode was already fun to observe what you can do with the entire system. And now with having the feedback from that, adjusting the gameplay a little from the feedback that we received from you, I am really looking forward to see what you all will be doing with it.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that there's a sweet new interface for dedicated engineering terminals aboard spacecraft. That the first implementation of armor and damage penetration means that the...
Jared, get your hair back. What are you doing?
Ways that you kill and keep your spaceships alive will fundamentally change. And that when this arrives in the PU...
I'm offended.
Life aboard spaceships will never be the same again. Now, that's it for this season of Inside Star Citizen, while everybody here turns their focus towards the upcoming CitizenCon, where we'll be showcasing the future of Star Citizen beyond Alpha 4.0. Yes, it's a show you're not going to want to miss. So from the small team that makes every ISC, thank you so much for letting us stretch our proverbial wings this year. Thank you for continuing to let us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all back here after the big show. I can't believe we got to...
They just cut him off. I can't believe we got to... This is, I like how they never showed us the caves, but they kind of slipped it into this. The acidic caves. Gosh, I hope there's something to actually do there. It's interesting. Their 4.0 season of Inside Star Citizens, they timed it pretty well for CitizenCon. I don't think they really have a choice to not launch 4.0 this quarter, man. Like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do for Inside Star Citizen? They can't just get ahead in Inside Star Citizen. Are they just gonna come back with season for 4.1 and start talking about like what? No, they gotta get 4.0 out. They have to. Sorry if it's broken, push it. Doesn't matter, push it. But yeah, I think that's why, like, it would be crazy for them not to be talking about what's coming beyond 4.0 at CitizenCon.
There's a suite of armor and damage penetration means that the ways that you kill and keep your spaceships alive will fundamentally change. And that when this arrives for this season of Inside Star Citizen, well, everybody here turns their focus towards the upcoming CitizenCon, where we'll be showcasing the future of Star Citizen beyond Alpha 4.0.
What else would they talk about? Let's be honest. Like, there are so many topics that they can talk about that we already know about that are beyond 4.0. I could just go on here and scroll, and we could probably find a few. The underground facilities, for one. We can maybe get an update on what the heck's going on there. Building interiors, though, way back here somewhere. I guess they maybe not. Well, they won't do the Nix system. But yeah, the building interiors. The oh geez, what else? Base building, crafting. Yeah, they kind of have to talk about stuff past 4.0 at this point. We've talked about everything. They can't just have a CitizenCon about stuff that we don't know about. And honestly, the development team has been working on stuff past 4.0 since at least as early as May. So they have been purposefully not sharing that stuff and only the stuff that's 4.0 related, which, to be quite honest, it's been pretty good. I think a lot of this stuff was really interesting to learn about. Told us some good new details. And it was a good explanation of 4.0, but they've got to move on. They've got to move past it at this point. Well, let's see. The stuff that they had talked about last year. We're going to go to, you know it, the same old website. Dude, I saw somebody say on Reddit that they delivered literally nothing from last year's CitizenCon, and I'm like, I couldn't hit myself harder in the head. Like, have you not heard the most engaging and debated topic of the entire year of 2024? Motherfucking master modes. Oh my god, that just drove me nuts. So looking at this, I know I already put a video out about this not too long ago, but looking through it real quick, they've gotten more than half of the stuff out. They're still missing quite a bit of stuff. And I think that, to be honest, there are things on this list that they haven't mentioned for the entire year. And I'm not sure if those are just little things they want to slip into 4.0 without talking about, or if they're just not around. Because they're simple things, like ladder animations. Where is that? Where is that? Where the heck are they? Prone, ladder, and slide animations. I'm very, very confused as to why we haven't really seen that. But of all the things that still aren't in the game, even not including 4.0 if it didn't come in, ship to helmet MFD cast, complete ship HUD rework, and new configuration for control surfaces, are in 3.24.2. What else did they add in there? Just the Zeus, I think. So there's like, if you go into 4.0, then there's also, you know, static server meshing, fire simulation, resource management, I guess FPS repair we just saw, rough and ready gang, frontier clothing, radiation. Like, there's a decent amount of stuff that's going to make it in with 4.0. I think they could actually get fairly, they could probably reach around, I think it was 70% I calculated, if they got 4.0 in this year. So, like, I know that they haven't, like, this year was not the year that they set it up for with expectations. Whether it was the preview channel, or it was the features that they talked about getting in, or it was 4.0 itself. But there's a pretty decent amount of stuff that, depending on how this last quarter goes, will be in the game by the end of the year. We got the new prone? Oh yeah, we did, huh? We got it with the EVA stuff. That's right. Yeah, you're right. Good call. So I guess, but that's just, that's half a feature. Still got the ladder and slide stuff, right? They still have to elaborate on transient jump points. Yeah, that's true. That's past 4.0. Means we will learn about new things that are actually in active development and not just concepts and ideas, so it's good. That they've gotten better at that. You know, I know that they've, again, had not delivered a lot of the stuff that they needed to this year after CitizenCon last year. But they've gotten a lot better at showing us stuff at CitizenCon that's actually in development, and not just some random stuff that's maybe going to come in the next 4 years. In SnowRunner, you can repair damage to trucks, but there's durability meter for each part that will very slowly wear down if you use that truck too long, regardless of repairs. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Wear and tear on the long term. He was probably thinking they didn't deliver anything I want. Master mode, salvage, star map, character, salvage. I think salvage was last year. Salvage and vulture. And SRV. I believe. Your biggest gripe with CIG this year has been the slow rollout of features for the outsized marketing tomfoolery has been happening. Tomfoolery. Where does that even come from? Who is Tom Fool? In last year's CitizenCon, didn't they say they wanted this stuff in the next 6 months? Next 6 months? Legitimately, I'm actually genuinely wondering, where did you get that? Yeah, the MFDs are in 324.2 with the Zeus, and I think with the new caves.
Yum, 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 yum.
Oh yeah, by the way, anybody who's watching this for the engineering stuff on the deep dive on YouTube after the fact, thanks for coming. We appreciate you. You want to see the MFDs? Thought that's what Chris said. Then again, it's been almost a year. No, he said by the end of the next year. Oh, what the heck? I just realized you can see the MFD through the window. Never noticed that. Somebody was talking about the 2D radars. The Drake ships still have the 2D radar. Check it out.
Drake is my favorite. It's retro and Blade Runner and CRTs.
There's Argo?
Oh, I guess
Really
Argo does
feels
too.
like a piece of industrial equipment, which is what the brand is going for.
And there's the generic style that will support all.
Generic, gross. It was by the end of the next year. He made a video about this, guys. It's on the channel. Check it out. Put some work into that. But I will show you. He, first day, he came out and said, this will all be in the next 12 months. And then he he reiterated. Hold on. Let's see if we can find that.
Run a little video here to remind ourselves just everything we have, 150 computers, that you guys can get down and sit and start to play and experience.
All right,
the
Chris.
beginnings of Pyro.
They were watching that video again from last year.
I'd like everyone to know
Yeah,
that the
dude.
people that aren't here in person,
You're
we're
goofball,
going to
man.
be able to give select access to the Pyro Playground next week. So we'll have
I think it actually might be after the Star Engine.
Mark Boudet, who is the CEO of Turbulent, is now our head of global studios. They're strengthening our management team at CIG, and I'm really, really happy to have them. And I want to introduce Benoit to come to the stage, since he leads up the tech group, and he can give you a little...
Where the heck was it?
So hats off to the engine team and supported by our cinematic artists that put it together. I also need to call out Pedro, even long after Star Citizen is out of alpha and we're at 1.0 and below and beyond.
Him below.
We're going to be able to give select access.
Okay. Screw this. I can't find this one. It's harder to find. But he says something like in the next 12 months. And then he comes out here and he is very, very adamant to reiterate that he means by the end of the next year. Listen to this.
I hope you've enjoyed everything you've seen. Comments about, okay, well, that's very cool, but when are we going to get it in the game?
Maverick, thank you for the bits.
One of the reasons why we wanted to show you this CitizenCon is because we've hit an inflection point on a lot of the features, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention, not making 100% promise, just so everyone
Chris, you glitched.
remember CitizenCon is
Chris, come on.
which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon
Okay, Chris, come on. What? Why do you stop here?
is our intention. We're going to get it in the game.
Like literally right before the line, it just stops moving.
But one of the real reasons why we wanted to show you this CitizenCon is because we've hit an inflection point on a lot of the features, as in they're either finished or they're in polishing stage, which is why we're showing them. So everything that we've been showing you here at CitizenCon is our intention, not making 100% promise, just so everyone remembers that.
Okay, the audio is what matters.
To
There we
get
go.
them into Star Citizen through next year. So
Through next year. So not 12 months from CitizenCon, through 2024.
it's not going to be gated on having to be after Squadron 42. So we are...
Dang, somebody just screamed.
So we're planning over the next, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of next.
Then he's like, okay, January, February, March. He goes through all the quarters. But yeah, he, I think, was trying to be pretty clear. It was totally me. You couldn't tell? Did that not sound like me? Come on. He was trying to be clear that it was not by the next CitizenCon, it was by the end of the next year, which I think was probably a better idea than saying in the next 12 months. But unfortunately, it is remembered in many different ways.
Next year, hopefully everything that we've shown you, you will have in your hands playing inside Star Citizen.
And then he's not even like, he's like, hopefully. No promises, hopefully. It's our intention. I hope so. It's maybe possibly. I feel like this is like my parents telling me we could go to Six Flags when I was a kid. Can we go to Six Flags after school? Hopefully, by the end of the next week, maybe we might possibly be able to go to Six Flags. That's right, Tomato. Yeah, my parents did call me Tomato as a kid. That's why we ended up going with this name. The 6-month comment they were making was about the ISC episode shipping out at 9:57 in the video. Oh, right, the first 6 months stuff. I think they actually got most of that stuff in the first 6 months. But yeah, that was a different statement. I think that was actually more of a mess up, that video was, than the CitizenCon stuff, because that talked about the preview channel, which did not go the way that was hoped. Let's see.
Into the first half of 2024, with improvements to reloading, the weapon.
So weapon wear and tear is like one of the only things we didn't get in those first 6 months. And again, they haven't talked about it. It's just so confusing. It's weird. Like where, why, what? It's not even on the roadmap. What's going on with weapon wear and tear?
Weapon wear and misfire system, scopes and dynamic crosshairs and charge and drain, and even more we'll be able to show you once we return in the new year. And then
Oh, that's for what they want to show. There we go. All this stuff.
52. Now, whether that's every ship or a staggered rollout of groups of vehicles depends on how work progresses. But it's a major change to the way spaceships operate in the persistent universe, and you can be sure that we'll update on it more when the time comes. And of course, when your ships aren't in flight, they can be stored in the newly persistent hangars that are arriving with freight elevators, freight kiosks, and the new cargo transaction system that we've shared on both ISC and this year's CitizenCon. Now, all combined, they form the next major evolution of cargo careers and will also have far-reaching, broader implications for the entire Star Citizen experience. And then outside of vehicles and hangars, there's also a variety of FPS combat improvements coming to the first half of 2024, with improvements to reloading, the weapon wear and misfire system, scopes and dynamic crosshairs and charge and drain, and even more we'll be able to show you once we return in the new year.
Charge and drain is an interesting one too that did not make it in the first 6 months. So there were definitely a couple. It's like, just don't even say specifics, man. Just be like, we're going to give you an update next year. Trust. There will be an update of some sort by next year. You better believe it. Oh boy. That's right. I'll tell you once, you look me in the eyes, and I'll tell you twice. There is an update, and it will come out next year. And everybody's like, yeah! That's super hype. But I understand that's not hype, so they can't just say that. But yeah, Charge or Drain 4.0. We'll see what happens with it. Go read a Star War, just a single one. Your hangar experience has been as a hobo living off station since your personal hangar has been broken for 7 days. You've been paying your fees? Sounds like somebody fell behind on their payments. Maverick, thank you for the bits on Twitch, dude. You're awesome. No olives here. You're sure some of those will be moved to 4.0.x? Well, multi-tool updates and charge and drain are probably one and the same. And these are pretty much linked to the new outposts. So I think those will definitely be there. I think everything that is actually in Pyro will be there and linked to Pyro. So that is, the character customizer will definitely be there. That one's not hard. So that's space stations, asteroid bases, all the Pyro moons and planets, jump points, outposts. And then the missions would include the charge and drain and multi-tool updates. Engineering would include the fire extinguisher and fire hazard. Server meshing would include the mission refactor and transit system. What do you think would slip out? Who's dropping olive oil in chat? Mrs. Tomato, what are you doing? Don't do that. The new multi-tool charge and drain was spotted in engineering ISC, so maybe 23.24.2. I think those are pretty much linked to the outposts and Pyro, though. Savage Beagle. God, these names. You guys are brilliant. Thank you for the Prime sub, man. Appreciate you. Alpha 0.0.3 in 12 years. That means beta 0.1 around 2048. And final 1.0 release by 2090. Thank God we're already beating that schedule. Think a lot of things will be moved to 4.0.x. There's so much wrapped into 4.0. You're really shocked Pyro and engineering would be one update. Which one do you think will get kicked? Engineering? .0 something, yeah, I could see that. You think the new missions will go back a patch? Let's check the dev tracker real quick. Toes. Are they saying anything fun? Who just spawned the toes? Mr. Thoughts. Ultimate toes buddy in the chat. That just sounds bad. I'm not going to call you a toes buddy, okay? But I appreciate the sub. Thank you for using your Prime. Sticking it to Amazon. No more toes buddies. I'm sorry. That was inappropriate. Let's see. Ladders make FPS frustrating. Ladders are in the schedule, and it's our intention to make them better as they are way too sticky or connecting. Yeah, well, that's literally one of the features we were just saying we were looking for. Toe photos when? I'm sorry, you're never going to see my toes on a photo. That's gross. But, like, where are the ladders? Where are the ladder movements? Fate. Base building feature making by one developer. Are there any good conversations going on? Finishing the map. I think they might give us the CitizenCon information next week. Which sucks because I was gonna work on my CitizenCon expectations video, and it's not as fun to do after they've already released the schedule themselves, but I guess I could just do a video on the schedule itself. If you think forward-looking statements or promises, please hop on an investor call. Can state last earning call you said this is a promise. They will laugh at you. Dude, I'm super funny. They always laugh at me. I'm hilarious. You want to know when we get the rest of the FPS improvements and variable zoom scopes? Echo, don't start with your 1 bit. 1 bit, man. You know you wanna. I'm not eating an olive. Don't even start it, dude. This ain't the cooking stream, okay? There aren't olives in easy proximity. Mrs. Tomato, stay in the other room. When is CitizenCon? October 20th? 21st? 19th? October happy days? It is October 19th and 20th, yeah. And we will be flying back to the US the week after. No, get out of here. Get out. Get out. I'm gonna... Stop it. Stop. Sick. Just disgusting. You all are disgusting. Maverick. Poke. Appreciate the 1 bit though, dude. Thank you. That's it. You feel nothing but joy? Echo, dude, you're never going to be able to make up for what you've gotten yourself into. Okay, you have screwed yourself over with your... I don't even remember what it is. You have to drink strawberry milk with olives in it? Is that it? Because that's just gross, man. Don't listen me. You fucking listen, okay? You did yourself in. Yeah, it's disgusting. Ruben, what's up? Hey, good to see you in chat. How you doing? That's torture. He did it to himself, man. He said it. He literally said he would do it. I don't know why. I don't know what he woke up what situation he woke up in and said, I'm just gonna f my life up. I'm gonna get onto stream with Space Tomato and I'm gonna tell him that I'm gonna drink strawberry milk with a fresh olive. Because that's terrible, dude. No, it's not happening at CitizenCon, unfortunately. It'll be happening probably at our house in California in November. We're gonna have a little garden party out there. The second meeting of Echo. Olive blended in or floating around in the milk? That's a good question, Avocado. Chat, what do you guys say? Should it be blended into the milk? Froth it up a little bit? Get some of that... Ugh. That's disgusting. Can we stream it? Maybe we'll go live just to say hi to everybody, yeah. I think it should be floating around in the milk. I think that's much more disgusting. How about both? Add garlic? Ooh, dude, Echo. It's getting worse and worse for you, buddy. Somebody take notes. Remind me that all of this is true. Just throw up a little in your mouth, dude. It's disgusting. Imagine how much Echo's gonna throw up in his mouth. Gross. Sick. Okay. Tell me this. What was all of your favorite part of this last season of ISC? Of the stuff that we saw come into 4.0, what was the best Inside Star Citizen introduction to it, in your opinion? I'll put them up on the screen so that you guys can get a little reminder of all of the ones that were there. We got jump points. We got space stations, I guess. I don't even remember. Oh, contested zones and space stations. We got the fire hazard. We got the ground outpost locations. We got the combat that takes place at those locations. Creatures and character customizer. Zeus and MFDs. Nope, that's 324.2. And engineering. Nah, MFDs aren't 4.0. You can't pick that one. It's only the 4.0 stuff. You like the character customizer portion? Creatures and the cows and the character customizers. Big highlight for y'all. Tattoos, cow. Engineering, okay. Engineering. Good choice. Jared's dad jokes. Quality of life stuff, including MFDs and engineering. Come on, chat. Where you at? Which one is it? We need a winner. I need to know which one was the best, so that we can make a huge video out of it. As of right now, apparently it was the character customizer that was the best part of the season. Engineering for you. The Zeus. Oh! Wait, I forgot to add this. Hold on. This is important.
To have the items in the right place, to have the resources.
Wait. This is part of, forgot to go over this.
Like,
when it comes to...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Inside.
This. A lot of cow votes. Okay.
Engineering. The next...
All right. This part where they talk about heat. This is pretty important.
You ship items.
And on the right of each of the power bars, you can generally see the temperature bar. If it goes into overheating, the item will stop both consuming or producing, and it will be completely inoperable until it cools down again. So that means that assigning power to your coolers in advance is probably a good idea if you're going into a fight.
So that heat system that they're talking about with the components is part of what's going to make the new hover mode work. Control surfaces and this heat system are super key for that. So while your components can overheat, they're also going to make it so that ship thrusters can overheat. And I've got a clip here from 2022 where they talk about how that's going to work.
VTOL made things like VTOL mode sort of lose meaning when you can just hover upside down or nose pointing at the ground? Why does it make flying easy, especially for things like the Prospector? While it does make flying easy, especially for things like the Prospector, it does break immersion. Are there any plans to force ships to stay close to horizontal at slow speeds? This would also affect ground combat and make it more necessary, as you wouldn't just be able to point straight down at targets.
Just that one is yes. So it's probably worth explaining. So at the moment we have aero surfaces on these ships, but it doesn't fly like a plane. So they're still driven by the thrusters, but we do change them based on the planet they're on. So they do lose some power in atmosphere, but the thrusters to generate the performance in space have to be set in strengths. It has to generate the accelerations that we require in space. And then when you fly in atmosphere, you lose some efficiency, but we still need the strength of the thrusters to be able to push the ship through the air. And actually pushing aero surfaces through the air takes a lot of strength to be able to do that. So we are limited in terms of, to get the maneuverability in atmosphere currently, we still need quite strong, we still need quite strong thrusters, which means you can hover quite easily. But that's not always going to be the case. So in the future, we are going to move towards control surfaces. And this is going to allow us to move the movement of the ship from thrusters to aerodynamics. So it's going to be the aerodynamics driving the maneuverability of the ship in atmosphere. And then the thrusters are just going to help a little bit. They're going to help just move the ship and allow the thruster layouts to kind of do their work. But it's not going to be the primary.
Okay. This is what Yogi talked about last year during the panel where they were flying in atmosphere.
Until you're reaching stall speed, which is about now, and then the thrusters will kick in and catch you. That means, however, you are now in a state that the thrusters don't like, right? So at the moment we have turned this up, but in the future you will not be able to hold this for long. So if Brent, for example, now from a hover, strafe is left, more left, more left, more left. The wind flow again pulls the ship over.
So you mentioned there that like the thrusters have to kick in when you slow down because of this whole model of...
Moment in the PU, when you go through a planet, you're using the thrusters to rotate. We're not doing that anymore. So Brent, disconnect the thrusters, please, and put the ship into a purposeful stall. A stall happens when the airflow over a wing ceases, or over a lift surface ceases. And then at some point you will not have any authority anymore, and your ship will not turn and so on, and you will basically fall out of the sky. That is naturally a state that every plane wants to avoid naturally, right? And this is happening right here. Brent is not able to use the control surfaces right now because the ship is in a process of stalling. However, the airflow will pull the nose back into the wind, and once you have enough speed, he can actually, he gets authority back over these control surfaces. That means for you as players, what you can actually do, you can do aero braking, you can do pure gliding if you want to. You can even do like competitions like, I don't know, like drop ships out of orbit and then see how far they glide. This is all possible with a new system.
But so this is why when you're considering the ship that you get, you're going to want to consider where you're taking it. If you want to do more cargo runs down to the planet's surface rather than up at space stations, you're going to want a Hull C instead of, or you're going to want a Starlifter instead of, I don't know, a Caterpillar, right? Because the Caterpillar is going to fly much worse than a Starlifter. Not only does a Starlifter have VTOL, it also kind of has wings, control surfaces. And it's just adding more, just like engineering is. It's adding more reason to pick specific ships over other ships. So if we go back here, he'll talk a little bit more about how the hover mode works.
Primary source. So if you're flying a Gladius, for example, and you go really slow, it's just not going to have the power to kind of keep it up. And that's where the VTOL ship's going to come in, where they can transform and fly in VTOL and hover, and that's where they'll have the advantage. But we need to add control surfaces first and work out how we do all the controls with that as well, because it's quite a complex problem to solve.
So just a reminder, this is a year and a half before the video we just watched with Yogi. That was when they finally got it in game. Right now, they were just talking about it as far as a design or a concept was.
Without going like, full flight simulator, for example.
Right. Didn't we do some version of this before with the adding the
old hover mode?
Yeah. All right.
To an extent, yes. But that sort of tried to solve the problem in a different way, and some people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, and it was the right idea with not quite the right implementation. Another thing we can look at when all the stuff Rich talked about is heat. We don't really use heat at the moment because the way heat works in our game is not how we want it to work long term, and this is something with the resource system that is being entirely redone. But for ships,
and that's what we just saw in ISC, was the heat system and the resource system being redone.
Like a Gladius, as well as needing that control surface to keep up in the air, like if you're not going fast, those thrusters can start overheating as an extra penalty, because...
And that's what Yogi showed us at CitizenCon last year.
In reality, you could just upend your Gladius like that and balance it on its main thrusters. But because they're powerful enough to do that, so they should be powerful enough to do that, but they're going to be working so hard that heat is going to build up, and we can cause intentional problems doing it that way to stop. I've seen people landing their Scorpiuses on the wings that way, and that sort of stuff will start being a lot more rare.
Like a gun start.
So this is hover mode coming back, but in a more systemic way, and this, I think, is going to be a very, very interesting development in Atmosphere. It's probably going to be yet another one of those things that makes people say the game's too tedious, it's too much, it's like a real job, I don't want to do it. Don't fly ships, okay? You don't have to fly ships in Star Citizen to have, well, you do have to fly it to have fun right now, but the game they are making is clearly made for the possibility of playing it without having to fly ships all the time. And I don't think this is just going to take people out of the air. I don't think you're just going to fall out of the air super quickly when this kind of stuff happens, but I do think that wear and tear that we're talking about when it comes to components or thrusters, you'll start to see it when you're flying in Atmosphere, because those thrusters need to kick in order to stop you from, or to make up for your lack of control surfaces. So again, pick a ship with control surfaces, less engineering to repair those components that are overworking themselves in Atmosphere, or you just don't fly in Atmosphere, but like trade-offs and stuff, you know? Not sure about all this. Not sure how it makes sense with ships that have maneuvering thrusters that can produce G's of thrust. It's not really supposed to make exact sense, I guess. It's more a gameplay balance than anything else. But the idea is that maneuvering... Actually, no, we've got this. We've got something for this. Star Citizen design document. Thrusters. Ooh. I thought there was a page for this. Basically, maneuvering thrusters are meant to give quick impulses of thrust. Here we go. So you've got your maneuvering thrusters provide instant thrust output as they do not need to align to the desired vector. Gimbal maneuvering thrusters provide thrust on one or more axes as they pivot or rotate to align themselves. Where are we? Where does it talk about these considered? VTOL thrusters provide lift in the z-axis and can either be fixed in one position to provide continuous upward thrust or can pivot when needed to provide that thrust. Cargo or particular ships tend to have fixed VTOL thrusters on the underside if they are required to enter or exit planets or moons with gravity to aid them in leaving the atmosphere and also to slow their descent. I don't know, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but they kind of talk about how you got main thrusters and you got maneuvering thrusters. Main thrusters are meant to be able to sustain thrust for longer. Maneuvering thrusters are meant to be more quick impulses, generally in vacuum environments. What ships have control surfaces? I don't know if the Pisces, I think the Pisces does. It has wings. But yeah, it's basically about the heat system, not about their ability to actually produce the thrust. I'm with you, Brigadier. I'm with you, dude. I'm all agreement. All right, folks. I am so tired. We didn't get to do much sleep because, surgery things. So I'm going to go make sure Mrs. Tomato is okay and comfortable and recovering well from her surgery. Give her your best wishes as she recovers. And I will be back with you all on Monday. Should have a video coming out about engineering sometime early next week. And then another video. I'll leave that one more as a surprise. But yeah, we'll be back to the streams on Monday, just like always. And we'll continue from there next week. I've got a live podcast. Anybody who is a supporter, I'll have it scheduled tomorrow morning, but it should be around, I think, 10 a.m. UTC tomorrow morning. So mostly the European people will be there for it. If you're a Twitch, YouTube, or Patreon supporter, come and join. It'll be me and Ferrister. We'll be talking about engineering, having a good old chat, and getting down to the details of this new gameplay. But thank you all for coming. I hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something new, got some entertainment. Y'all have a good old time. I'm going to drop you in on the Nova Forge. He was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. He does a lot of the same kind of research and just looking into Star Citizen, old news, and things like that as well. Good guy. Give him a follow. Drop the toes in chat. Toes gang all the way, folks. Thank you again for being here. Do something you love today. Go give somebody a hug. Eat something yummy. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. You're all amazing. Love you. I'll see you next time. Oh, wait. I'll see you tomorrow. We're doing an org event tomorrow. Completely forgot. Hey, if you are part of the org, come join us. We're going to be doing Blockade Runner all together. It's going to be a good time. Sign up on the Discord. And I'll see you there. Okay. Bye.